D-backs win. D-backs win. We're celebrating, of course. Oh, I'm celebrating this guy. But D-backs win. Yay. Okay, so anyway, welcome to the PHNX D-back show. My name is Derek Monti. Of course, I am your mayor of PHNX. This guy over here is our vice mayor, the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
Well, you know, Derek, just as we all expected, a completely wild night of baseball at Chase Field ended with Sergio Alcántara hitting a 3-run home run off of Craig Kimbrell. I don't know what you guys were expecting to happen at the end of this game, but I know I was expecting that all the way through.
Do you want to stop lying now? No cap. No cap. This guy comes, Sergio Alcántara comes up to the plate. This guy immediately starts questioning Torey Lovullo's entire resume. Everything about him as a manager. Every decision he's ever made.
For a moment that Stone Garrett had been used earlier in the game. And so at that point, it started to make a little bit more sense.
Keep a better scorecard. Keep a scorecard.
I guess so.
Anyway, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our code of PHNX. Get yourself some free goodies. And of course, DraftKings is America's top-rated sportsbook app. Jesse, don't pee in our pool.
Don't pee in our pool.
Don't pee in our pool. We have law enforcement officers waiting and ready for you guys. But of course, what a walk-off win. The Diamondbacks win it. They avoid the sweep, win it in 10 innings. I mean, this was a game that had a loss written all over it. Felt like once the Diamondbacks kind of lost control early on, we had some Daulton Varsho home runs. We had him showing off the power tools. We had a Corbin Carroll home run. This was a very fun game. Dodgers tried to ruin it, even with their B squad. That isn't their that makes me. I just feel like I undercut our own victory there.
Yeah,
with the B squad
we didn't
comment.
need to mention that the Dodgers had their B squad in this early in the show. That was completely unnecessary.
Yeah,
but here we are.
Roman Mendoza says, "I literally stopped watching after the pass ball." And man, yes, absolutely, yes, Sean. I am going with the Wow Joy Bus because it's a win. Jesse's got water, of course, but that's because Jesse is who he is. Of course, the Dodgers did celebrate clinching the NL West at Chase Field again. Like we haven't seen this entirely too many times, but they did at least have a little class about it this time and kept it in the clubhouse where they belong. But it was a nice victory. The Arizona Diamondbacks come back. They avoid getting swept. Obviously, losing the series isn't great. This feels like the ultimate kind of like consolation prize that you at least got to win, right? But let's be honest, Ryan Nelson's start was incredible, and the Arizona Diamondbacks were very much in a position to potentially win that game. Their offense didn't show up for the first two games of this series, but luckily today it showed up, and it showed up at the right time.
It really did. And what's wild to me, Derek, is the Diamondbacks did not have a hit with runners in scoring position in this series until Sergio Alcántara comes through with a 3-run home run against Craig Kimbrell. The offense, I mean, the Diamondbacks offense in this series just really struggled throughout pretty much the entire way. I mean, they didn't score a run until this third and final game of the series. They were shut out in both of the first two games. I believe that was the first time the Dodgers had shut out a team on back-to-back days. So it was at least this season. So it was a really rough couple of days for the Diamondbacks offense. And it wasn't like, they had 15 hits or anything in this game, but they got what they needed, right?
Yeah.
And I also want to credit the bullpen in this game. Even though things were not great there in the 10th inning, you could make a case the Diamondbacks really shouldn't have given up a run at all in that inning. Ketel Marte made a
strong case for that.
You can make a very strong case for that. Ketel Marte made a very costly defensive mistake by not covering first base on a bunt. Then you had a wild pitch also in the inning, which I think Cooper Hummel probably should have had a handle on. So yeah, I mean, the defense made some mistakes there, but on the whole, the bullpen was very, very good in this game. Caleb Smith, 2 2/3 innings out of the bullpen, didn't allow a run. And then Joe Mantiply, Kevin Ginkel, and Reyes Marantza. I mean, that run wasn't an earned run there in the 10th inning. So
I don't think that was on Marantza really anyway.
No. Yeah, I mean, it really didn't feel that way. So a rare occasion where we can applaud the Diamondbacks bullpen at the end of the series. We haven't had many of those days this season.
Yeah, let's take a look at the numbers from this series because they definitely tell the tale about starting pitching, ERA here. The Dodgers were just dominant in this series as far as starting pitching goes. The Diamondbacks offense was really just missing in action, but At least, again, there's going to be moral victories about this series, and I guess one of them would be that the Diamondbacks did do a really good job of holding the Dodgers in check. It just seemed like there were these moments where suddenly they things kind of spiraled out of control. The 6-0 loss in Game 2, I don't feel like was actually as bad as it looks.
No,
right?
No, because it was a tie game going to the 7th inning. Right. It was a very competitive baseball game most of the way.
Absolutely. It was 0-0, so relief pitching ERA, the big difference here. Obviously, the Diamondbacks relievers have not been good in this series. And like Jesse said, at least today they showed up. And honestly, that's why the Diamondbacks won. That's pretty much it. They were able to close the door here at the end. And that big Sergio Alcántara home run that Jesse questioned from the minute he was in the batter's box.
I know all of you, the moment Sergio Alcántara was up, you guys are all like, oh, this game's over. Like, it's an easy dub for the D-backs at this point. I know that's how all of you felt. This guy had hot takes. But I was not so sure at that point in the game.
I knew. I was ready for it. I was already walking it off. But I guess the question here is, the Diamondbacks did still get thoroughly beat in this series, even though they avoided the sweep. And is there any real moral victories here? Is there anything to take away? I mean, when you look at the difference between payrolls of these two teams, I would say that the Diamondbacks should be pretty satisfied if they're just able to hang with a team like the Dodgers. Today's game not really being as included as much as like what Ryan Nelson did in Game 2.
Yeah. I think there is this game does have meaning, right? I mean, the Dodgers, I think especially yesterday, there's an embarrassment that comes with having another team clinch on your own field, right? And Merrill Kelly said after the game yesterday, he kind of brushed it off. He said, I mean, they were going to clinch somewhere, right? Like, we've all known the Dodgers were going to win the NL West for kind of a long time at this point. It's no secret, So in his mind, it just sort of so happened to occur at Chase Field, and it wasn't, didn't have much more meaning than that. But there were some players, and Torey Lovullo yesterday, who, when the Dodgers started their celebration for winning the NL West title, there were some guys who hung out in the dugout for several minutes, just sort of watching and reflecting as the Dodgers celebrated on the Diamondbacks' home turf, right? Thinking about, how long from now, could this be something that the Diamondbacks themselves are participating in, right? You don't want to see other teams celebrate on your own field. But I think just this game is a really good response to that. The D-backs are not there yet. And even though this is a fun game and a fun win, at the end of the day, the D-backs are not going to the same place the Dodgers are this season.
For sure.
But it's something to build on. And I think every moment where the D-backs show up in games against the Dodgers and show that they can compete against this baseball team, it means a lot. And it means even more, the night after the Dodgers clinch in your home field, and you want to just sort of salvage some dignity for yourself.
It's bulletin board material. And as much as we, as normal people that don't play sports, don't really see the motivation there as much as these guys do, these guys are amped and pumped for these games. They're amped and pumped for challenges. They circled dates when it was a team that gave up on them. They circled dates when it's a team that drafted them, that didn't, that traded them away, whatever the case may be, right? Just might be a team that, like the Dodgers, where we were talking about Josh Rojas saying that they had a different attitude now about this, and that they were kind of they were pumped.
They were pumped excited to play the Dodgers,
what I mean? And they got to play them, and they got to see them clinch. It's kind of like Lovullo taking the team to the Colorado Avalanche championship parade when they were in Denver playing the Rockies, right? Mm-hmm. We actually joked about that and then found out they really did that. They actually did it. Like, we just said it as like hey, you should do that. You should take them down there and see what a championship parade looks like.
Yeah, right.
So Torey Lovullo did that. And again, this is a motivator. It's something for these guys. It's something for them to think about. It's something to think about during the off season when you're training and when you have those days where you don't want to push that extra effort. It's that thing that will come up in your brain and make you try harder, make you get that 1% better the next day and every single day going forward if you want to attain that goal, to getting to that point where you're celebrating on either your home field or on someone else's home field. But there's much more to this because it's the Dodgers, right? Torey Lovullo and the Diamondbacks have had to watch the Dodgers not only be the best team in their division for years, but I was there the day they jumped in the pool. I've been there entirely too many times, personally to see the Dodgers celebrate. Adrian Gonzalez sprayed me with champagne right in my fucking eyes. Like, this is something that I personally have had to witness, and this team has had to witness entirely too much. And Jesse actually asked Torey Lovullo about not only the Dodgers being this dominant team, but their fans coming to Chase Field, like we all know, and kind of taking over and making it into this home series for the Dodgers on the road.
It was bad. And I mean, this series, it was pretty bad. There were a lot of Dodgers fans at Chase Field.
We've talked about this so much. I think it's something that like most Diamondbacks fans know all about, right? Like most Diamondbacks fans actively avoid Dodgers games instead of coming out for them like we used to at one point.
You can tell at the ballpark because there's not many of them there.
Yeah, and I mean, like our man Rock in the comments says, I'm sick of seeing the Dodgers celebrating on our field. Yeah. And honestly, it is a celebration when so many of the fans in the stands are there to see the Dodgers. And Torey Lovullo sounded off about that, and we actually thought that he was pretty fired up.
Yeah, I mean, it bothers me a lot. You know, they deserve to come to the stadium. I want it to be our fans. I wish it was, but we got to earn that. We got to make our fans come out here and enjoy our brand of baseball. And when we start doing it and winning baseball games, they'll come out here. We know they're here. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I've been watching it here for a long time.
None of us like it, Torey. And I think that's what it's gotten to the point to have that reputation where now, instead of like, hey, let's rally and let's come out and let's support the team when we know the Dodgers are going to be in town, I feel like most people just give up on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we need to get back to that point. We need to get back to where this team has that strong fan support and has fans coming out for a series like this. Tonight's game was fun. It was exciting. Most importantly, it's brought to you by Cam Payne. Because Cam Payne came all the way down here just because he saw what was going on with the Diamondbacks. He saw them struggling. And like the true friend he is, Cam Payne came out to reach out a hand and say, here, let me take you. You know, it's like the Diamondbacks looked up at Cam Payne and they asked, like, why is it during the most difficult times during this season when we look back on it, why, Cam Payne, was there only one set of footprints in the sand? And Cam Payne said, my son, that's when I was carrying you guys. And that's what he did tonight. He came down to the ballpark to carry the team. Did you see Lovullo? Lovullo dapped up maybe three members of the team before he went over to dap up Cam Payne. Torey knew who brought the luck tonight, and it was our fellow Valley of the Sun member, Cam Payne from the Phoenix Suns. So
we really never should have doubted that the Diamondbacks would find a way to win this game
with Cam Payne in the house.
Knowing that Cam Payne was in the house.
He should have brought Mikal Bridges. They would have won this thing in a blowout.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that's the way it works. But Leah said we can't make Cam Payne the king of the series. So instead, we're going to make...
I said no such thing.
She was on board. I'm not lying. Sergio Alcántara. I'm sorry. I always want to say it the way it's spelled. Sergio Alcántara. He is our king of the series with that walk-off home run. It really doesn't matter what else he did. The Diamondbacks didn't do much else in this series offensively, but that home run was obviously the biggest hit of all three of these games.
It really was. Yeah, I mean, in a series where as a team you only scored 5 runs and all 5 of them came in the last game and 3 of the 5 came on the last pitch of the last game in this series. Literally the majority of the Diamondbacks runs in the series came on the last pitch of the series. Yep. Sergio Alcántara pretty much automatically the king of the series at that point. He's had some big moments for this team, and I know a lot of people maybe trash talked him a little bit a few months ago during his first stint with the Diamondbacks. I know it's weird to think back to now, but he was with the Diamondbacks and then they let him go and the Padres picked him up. He didn't play particularly well there. And then the Diamondbacks got him again after that. And he's been really productive in this second stint. He's not an everyday player, right? You really only see him like maybe twice a week, something like that. Yeah. But he really has made an impact in this second stint with the team. And he's had some dramatic moments throughout the season. And tonight was definitely one of them.
Well, tonight's celebration is brought to you by our friends at OG's.
There you go.
At least half of our
That's what you were throwing into the sky.
That's what I was throwing into the sky. But
opened,
make sure you try our wonderful friends at OG's. It's a perfect way to celebrate. They are the leading edible in the state of Arizona. And not only that, but they are all about flavoring life. Their edibles are all about taste, and they are delicious. They offer a wide range of doses and strains for you to choose from. You can get them at your local dispensary. If you have trouble finding them, you can go to their website at ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ Brands, or OG's Brands on Instagram. And of course, we are giving you guys a little taste of not only PHNX, but a taste of OGs in our Flavoring Life sweepstakes over at gophnx.com. Open shirt Derek, they did not call him out tonight for for extra innings, and that's probably for the best. He needs his rest. But one of you lucky winners out there will receive 3 bags of OG's gummies, including my favorite, Orange Creamsicle. You'll get this OG's hat, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership. Sign up at gophnx.com or click the link in our show notes below. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And also, speaking of purchasing, Gametime, the Gametime app. It's the best place for you to buy your tickets. If you missed out on tonight's game.
Yeah, you could have been there tonight.
Could have been there tonight.
You could still go tomorrow.
Last minute, 60% off your tickets over at Gametime. Jesse's been talking about how beautiful the app is. I've been talking about how much money you can save. Save up to 60% on Gametime tickets. Leah, today, we were talking about Coyotes tickets. I know this isn't D-backs related, but there were a lot of people concerned about the price of Coyotes tickets. Leah was showing me on the Gametime app, you can get Coyotes tickets for $82 at that beautiful, tiny arena.
Still shocks me that that's a really good deal, but somehow it is.
Well, okay.
But you're getting a seat in the first 13 rows.
Games, okay?
Right.
Not to mention the fact that there's only 5,000 people on this building.
No, it makes perfect sense, really.
The Dodgers would sell out a baseball game with 5,000 people at it in moments, right? So...
Oh, for sure.
You know
and they could charge like $1,000 a ticket or something ridiculous, honestly.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to pay $1,000 per ticket over at Gametime. You are going to get your tickets for up to 60% off, and you're going to get them at the last minute. We know you procrastinators out there miss out on events. You got FOMO. You can get your tickets over at Gametime. If you love PHNX, you'll love Gametime. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in our show description. So we thank you for that. And we thank Gametime for making tickets affordable, because everything is more expensive these days, Jesse. Inflation is out of control. And of course, we need somebody to stick up for us, the little guys that don't have enough money to go to sporting events like this. But make sure to purchase your tickets at Gametime. Drey Day is here, Jesse.
Drey Day is here.
Drey Day. I'm going to start rapping here in a second, but Drey Jameson has been added to the taxi squad for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And according to reports by Nick Pecoro, he will actually start tomorrow versus the San Diego Padres. First, do you anticipate this being an actual start, or do you think this might be some sort of limited, and I'm not going to go as far as say opener
or something,
but I'm going to say like maybe we only see him go 3 or 4 innings? Or do you think this will be a full on?
No, it should be
debut?
It should be a full on debut. He's been pitching, every 5th or 6th day in Reno. And honestly, not pitching particularly well lately, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, speak on it, Jesse. We don't lie around here.
We don't lie around here. Well, you might at times, but I try not to. Drey,
what the fuck?
Drey Jameson has not pitched particularly well over his last few outings. But on the whole, if you look at his numbers in Reno, it's always just very hard to judge pitchers based on Reno numbers, like we've said time and time again.
It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not. But
well, and if Ryan Nelson,
your nemesis, is in the chat calling you out,
the Joker to my Batman. Fucking Totri.
I love how Totri has become the enemy, even though I'm the one who claimed that you lie.
No, it's fine. Totri is always my enemy.
I started it, but Totri is the nemesis.
He's the lightning rod. He gets all of my anger and fury.
Drey Jameson throws like almost 100 miles an hour.
100 miles an hour.
He's touched 100 miles an hour. Some of you might remember seeing him pitch in spring training, and he showcased some of his pretty filthy stuff that he has at that point. So there is some reliever risk here. There's a decent contingent of people who believe that Drey Jameson's long-term home will be in the Diamondbacks bullpen, but nonetheless, they're gonna bring him up as a starter. And even though his ERA in Reno is, around 6.5 or 7, something in that range. 6.95 is the exact number. It's not pretty. But then again, Ryan Nelson, had a 5.45 ERA or something like that in Reno, and he hasn't allowed a run in the big leagues yet.
So, based on the Ryan Nelson calculations and figures,
there's a conversion that we can do.
There is a conversion chart. So Drey Jameson will easily hit over 100 and probably touch like 103.
Oh, you're talking velocity.
I'm talking everything. I'm talking about everything. Okay. Success rate, lower ERA. Again,
dogging him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He is Himothy. Well, I mean, again, that might not be the worst thing. Like you said, he is it's been anticipated that he's going to be a reliever.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the Diamondbacks need relievers. So even if he comes up now as a starter, I don't really feel like this is, that's necessarily the role. I also don't think the Diamondbacks are in a position right now, as far as starting pitching is concerned, for them to be turning guys away. I think them kicking the tires on guys and the success that they've had so far this season.
Yeah.
With new guys coming up, they seem to have a lot of success with guys coming up at first. Right,
especially when they face the Padres.
They're hot when they face the Padres. You bring them in against the Padres, you're getting no hit Padres. But it's definitely one of those things that I think the Diamondbacks really right now are doing this because, of course, the big question on a lot of people's minds is why Drey Jameson and not Brandon Pfaadt.
Right.
The reason being is that Brandon Pfaadt isn't in danger right now of being a Rule 5 draft, Rule 5 potential target. So Brandon Pfaadt can still be added to the main roster next year. He's not going anywhere. Whereas Drey Jameson does have that danger out there for how long he's been in the organization.
Right. Yeah, it's because and it's silly that it comes down to this, but basically Drey Jameson was drafted in 2019 and Brandon Pfaadt was drafted in 2020. Hence, the Diamondbacks are bringing up Drey Jameson instead of Brandon Pfaadt. It sort of does come down to that just with how the Rule 5 draft rules work. Not impossible. We could still see Brandon Pfaadt, but at this point, I think it just about shuts the door on that possibility. I don't think the D-backs will need any other starting pitchers through the end of the season. Maybe Tommy Henry comes back up at some point. I guess maybe that's still possible. He's probably the only other starter who's not currently on the roster that I could see getting time this year.
Well, you get great insight like that from Jesse over at gophnx.com. If you haven't signed up for a membership already, please do so. You get yourself an annual membership. You will get a free t-shirt from the PHNXLocker.com. You guys know how beautiful the t-shirts are. Of course, if you get the month-to-month membership, you can get your first month for just 50 cents. Regardless of your membership status, you get members access to our Discord, which, let's be honest, that's worth the price of admission alone. It's
priceless.
You don't need the writing. We could charge admission to the Discord. I'm sure we could charge more for tickets to the Discord than the Coyotes are charging for their games. But
wow.
That's just because it's a popular place to be. We're more popular is what I'm saying. No, of course, you also get members-only discounts regardless of your membership status over at the PHNXLocker.com. And I'm only taking these shots at the Coyotes so much because the wonderful Leah Merrill.
Merrill. Come on, Derek.
Why am I always trying to do this?
You can't pronounce last names.
We've worked together for a year.
Well, no, that's the thing is it's in the moment. It all of a sudden sounds wrong for me to say Merrill. So that's why I went with I like to liven it up and add extra to it. There was a fantasy draft pick that I took that I was calling him Go Dare, and people are like, it's Goddard. It's just you don't need to add that extra. He's not from a different country or anything like that. You're not pronouncing it right. But of course, we thank you guys for joining us. If you are watching us right now on the PHNX YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe, sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. And if you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe to us there and leave us a 5-star review. Jesse, the calendar doesn't look any better.
No.
We still have a whole lot of Dodgers on the calendar.
Can we put that off for a second,
Padres.
though? Can we put that off and talk about Jake McCarthy trying to steal home? Because that was wild.
What was that? Did they really think they were going to catch him sleeping? Did they notice something in the delivery that was taking longer?
He was close. Jake McCarthy was really close. And honestly, when the Diamondbacks challenged the play because of the ridiculous home plate rule that we'll discuss in a moment, I actually thought it was possible that the play could be overturned just because Jake McCarthy was safe instead of out, which it seemed, looking at the replay, that wasn't the case when it was all said and done. But Derek, do you understand Major League Baseball's home plate?
I do not.
Blocking the plate
I
rule?
do not, especially not after tonight.
No.
Because the one caveat to that rule, right, is that if the throw takes them in the way of the runner, if it takes them to blocking the plate, that's the way for them to classify it as him not blocking the plate. And tonight, the Dodgers catcher was blocking the plate the entire time before the ball was even thrown.
Well, he didn't. Yeah. And the indication is that if you look at the replay, he didn't move at all when the throw came to him. He was already in the spot, right? And the spot that he was in was a spot where he was blocking the plate. At least it appeared that was probably the case. So I don't know where this rule stands right now. It seems like Major League Baseball is almost, I don't know, maybe they're backing off of it because they have enforced this rule in the last few months, and
there's got a lot of pushback.
A lot of players have pushed back quite a bit, and so maybe it's like, all right, maybe we tighten up the rules a little bit, make it happen a little bit less. But at the end of the day, you just want to be consistent, right?
The rule about that is that you shouldn't be doing that until the season is over. If you're being strict on a call,
you shouldn't make like
strict
mid-season.
on it all season long. You shouldn't all of a sudden make that change. And I'm sure the scrutiny that umpires are going through lends to that, and I'm sure they kind of hate it. They sounded like they hated it, right? Because the umpires were like, we have to enforce this rule, but we didn't make the rule, right? So we're just enforcing it.
And it's almost like Major League Baseball responded, and we're like, actually, don't enforce the rule. Like, don't make us look this idiotic anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, again, there is something weird about it. Like Rock says in the comments, remove the rule and let's get back to old school baseball collisions, which I'm of course all for.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
That still kind of scares me.
Well, you know
what happened to Buster Posey was pretty unfortunate.
No, it absolutely was. And it's worse that
it's
the best player on your team, right? Which that's kind of, I guess maybe that's the rarity, right? Because a lot of time the catcher isn't necessarily the best player on the team.
Are you making a case?
What I'm making
a case that because catchers are usually not the best player on the team,
run them over. They have protective gear on, Jesse. He's wearing a chest.
He basically has armor on.
He's got a mask.
So run him over. Why don't you?
He might as well be a knight with a lance on a horse. What are we even doing here? He is in a suit of armor. No, I do think it's funny though that was ever a thing. Mm-hmm. Like really, when you think about it, can you imagine that just being the rule in baseball at every plate, at every base?
At every base.
Like, oh yeah, they make the forced out at first, but no, he ran over the first baseman and he dropped the ball. Like it is a crazy ass rule when you really think about the fact that allow that for home.
At first base, you don't generally have to tag the guy. You just have your foot on the bag and you catch it.
The point is
it's a little different than a lot of the plays at home.
I can run into him and knock the ball out of the hand. That should be the rule for every base. Catchers are not people to bees. I don't know what that. Yeah. Well. Anyway. But yeah. No. That rule sucks. And I felt like tonight's evaluation of it was probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
Based on what we've seen this season.
It's not to
say I really think it's wrong the way it was applied tonight. Yeah. I thought the way that went down
it would have felt a little messed up if they overturned it
and they won on a walk-off like that. A lot of people in the comments liked that Jake McCarthy did that, though. They were in favor of that.
I think it's likable, and Jake McCarthy has gotten to the point where you can't not like the guy. I mean,
he can't do any wrong.
No, he's hitting 300, and I mean, just having the guts to try to steal home in the bottom of the ninth with a pretty good hitter in Corbin Carroll at the plate. Who had homered earlier in the game, right?
Yeah.
And Jake McCarthy is a gamer, man. I mean, he just goes out there and like tries to find a way to make things happen on the base paths. Yeah. Maybe this move was a little over aggressive. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, I'd be interested to see what Torey Lovullo has to say about this after the game. But
they brought up on the broadcast that he made a step back. And then he ran.
He really could have been safe. If he had like an extra step in his favor, it really could have happened.
Had he not taken that step back.
Could you imagine how electric? Like this tonight's already pretty electric for the D-backs. But could you imagine if Jake McCarthy had freaking stolen home and the Diamondbacks won on a walk? Like, that is the most electric walk-off.
We need to go behind the curtain for a second, too, because we need to tell the people what was going on here at the PHNX studios while this was happening, while they were reviewing this play. Derek was attempting to turn up the volume on the TV, but instead of turning up the volume on the TV, he turned off the TV.
No, wait. First, I switched all the TVs on. We just had one TV on. Then I turned them all to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Then I turned them all off.
And Jesse and I are screaming because we don't know what's happening.
Yeah, then I got the center TV back on, and I think I might have turned it off again.
Right when it turned on, I was like, okay, we're going to the 10th inning. And I said, Derek, this is all your fault. We could have had this game over sooner.
Yeah, Jesse blamed me. He said that actively the umpires called the call the way they did.
Yeah, Derek definitely impacted the ruling in New York.
Yeah, see?
They realized how incompetent this guy is working our TV remotes around the studio here, and they're like, yeah, we can't make this call in favor of this guy's baseball.
I'm just gonna ignore all of this chat, but Ryan says Jake was showing off for Cam. I think that's probably very true.
Cam Payne's pretty fast. You think Jake McCarthy faster than Cam Payne?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I think we need a foot race.
Can we
get Kyler Murray out there too, and maybe Corbin Carroll?
I am still fascinated by the question of who's faster between Kyler Murray and Corbin Carroll, because I think it is very close. I think Corbin Carroll is faster. In the limited research that I've done, it appears to suggest that Corbin Carroll is faster. But I digress. How did I get on this?
I don't know. You gotta win in a foot race.
Oh, you're talking about
numbers are numbers. I need a flat out foot race between these people.
There we go.
Much like our AllCity division, which is becoming a foot race, because ever since Tony La Russa stepped down from the Chicago White Sox, they've kind of been on fire, which is something we here at Arizona might know a little something about when it comes to La Russa. But the Chicago White Sox now 73-70. Diamondbacks still trying to get up there to 500. Don't think that's going to happen now at this point. Not enough games against winnable opponents left on the schedule. Five game series still on the schedule against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even seem like it should be a thing at all. But
no,
Colorado Rockies and Chicago Cubs kind of finish up the division there. But Shane says Jake does have that dog in him. He absolutely has that dog in him.
And now Shane is barking in the chat.
Yes. Yes. Good.
And calling your names.
Yeah.
And trying to get your attention.
Hi, Shane.
I think he's definitely, he's trying to he's trying to be an actual dog in the I get it. Makes sense.
I get it. And I appreciate it. Jesse, any thoughts on this terrible upcoming calendar and the games that the Diamondbacks have, especially against the Padres starting tomorrow?
I mean, the Padres series, the Padres are still, I mean, their games really do mean something still. So even though the Diamondbacks at this point, and you kind of throwing the towel on their playoff hopes, probably, I mean, that's not news as of today. It was probably a few days ago you could have said that, but
play a little spoiler.
Yeah, they have a chance to play some spoiler here with the Padres, and the Brewers are still sort of in the mix. The D-backs finish up the season against them, so there's some opportunity to kind of irritate some teams. And when you're a team kind of hovering around 500, probably not going to make the playoffs yourselves. That's kind of what you're there for in September. Just sort of be a nuisance, and do things like what Jake McCarthy and Daulton Varsho and a lot of the young exciting players on this team are doing right now. Yeah. And I think the D-backs have a good chance to do that. And also, I mean, come out to the ballpark. I mean, we're kind of running out of home games at this point. The D-backs play more road games, quite a few more road games than home games through the end of the season. So you're looking at this weekend or next weekend being the last opportunities to see the D-backs at Chase Field this year.
That's it. And you have a chance to go out and see them by going to Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, which is now open. By the way, we kind of told you some of this information on Twitter, but it is now open. The exterior entrance is open. You do not need a ticket, and you do not need to pay anything to sit at any of their tables right now for the rest of the season. And there's no minimum, there's no charge, there's nothing. You pay the price for your food and your drinks, and you get yourself a wonderful table over there. I got to be there this morning for the grand opening. I got to watch our friend Derek Hall drink a beer at like 8:30 in the morning. He did not. It was like 9. He didn't look too happy about that. That's you got a whole day ahead of you, there. But
Derek Hall wouldn't do well in this office.
No, he would not. I don't know how well you do. I was drinking beer samples at 9 a.m. and I'm still here at 10:56 p.m. I'm going strong, baby. My favorite part of today, though, was they introduced a burger for Randy Johnson called the Big Unit that you can only get at the Chase Field location. Randy Johnson was behind me while this was going on, and he had very funny comments to make, including about Derek Hall drinking the beer. He said it had to be 5 o'clock somewhere, and then I told Randy Johnson that airport rules are always in effect for him. He's a hero. He's a legend. He can drink at 6 a.m., 11 a.m. It doesn't matter what time it is. You keep your judgments to yourself. By the way, I noticed Sean. Did Sean bark in Icelandic in the chat earlier?
So the joke.
Is that a Bjork?
So the joke. Queue up. Let me just scroll through all of these comments in all caps by Shane, Sean, and Totri. So he said, "Hey Derek, what sound does a Swedish dog make?" And Sean said, "Bjork," and Shane said, "Bjork." And now they are spamming your chat with they're trying to say this is the Sun Devil show, but it's not. It's the D-back show. So
I don't like what's going on here. But you guys save it for tomorrow. You have your show. Of course, we have very little of this season left, like you said. Diamondbacks playoffs hopes are kind of in the rearview mirror, but it will be fun to watch them going forward, see what they can do, see guys like Drey Jameson make their debut and see what he can do.
Yeah,
if they can start filling the starting rotation with guys that can help them win baseball games, next year is going to be a very fun year right from the get-go. Not to mention we have Brandon Pfaadt still waiting in the wings to add to this rotation. So hopefully, look, we've seen the older guys can't get it done. Hopefully the younger guys can, right? I think that's where we're at this point. That's the question that so many people have had.
When you say older guys, you kind of lump Merrill Kelly in there because, he's kind of like in his mid-30s at this point. So
he's older than Madison Bumgarner.
He is older than Madison Bumgarner.
That will never make sense to me as long as I live. But I guess
he has like half as many innings on his arm, but he is older than Madison Bumgarner. Yes.
Well, that's how that goes. But of course, you guys can go bet on Drey Jameson in his debut against the Padres tomorrow over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You can do that and so much more. Of course, football season is back, and that's what everybody is excited about. I know I love betting on the NFL. It's one of my favorite things to do. And new customers right now can bet just $5, and you will get $200 in free bets instantly by betting on any team in the NFL on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Plus, everyone can experience the thrill of the DraftKings early win promotion, which I got to experience by betting on the Buffalo Bills in their game. But bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team ends up losing. It's simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use our promo code of PHNX, and you will get all of that. You'll get the $200 in free bets for betting $5, and you will also get down on that early win promotion. That's promo code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And of course, Jesse, I know I always say this. I used to say it all the time, but baseball, there's not a lot of time. Baseball's fun, but it's more fun when you bet on it. Get on the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet on that. And that's not all, Jesse. We also got our friends at Four Peaks, which I've been enjoying all night long. Shout out to our friends at Four Peaks, of course, for keeping us fully stocked in our refrigerator full of beer, as well as giving us a place for us to record our shows from. You can get down with us over at Four Peaks. It's the 8th Street Pub this Sunday, the 18th, 12:30 p.m. Cardinals watch party. Enjoy drink specials, Cardinals ticket giveaways, and a 220-inch screen experience. Check out our link in the description below. Must be 21 or older to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. If you don't get to join us, make sure to
Totri, I really wanted to like you. Like things have been sort of good between us.
Look, I tried to tell you. You were like, why is he a poop emoji in your phone? Now you know why he's a poop emoji.
Now I
in
know
your phone.
why. Yeah.
Sean's right. I am ducking him in MLB The Show. You guys know I like to play video games to enjoy them, not to play them against Sean. But of course, if you don't make it out to Four Peaks, make sure to grab yourself some Four Peaks at your local grocery store and enjoy them at home. Again, must be 21 or older to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. Jesse, that's all I got. Air conditioning is off in this building. I'm hot. These lights are hot. I can't take this anymore. I'm sweating through my Roosevelt shirt, which usually doesn't sweat through because it's amazing material and fabric. And now I'm doing an ad for them, and I'm not even getting paid for it. But of course, we thank you guys for being here late. It's 11 o'clock. You guys are still with us. We thank you guys so much.
PHNX After Dark.
PHNX After Dark. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. This guy's at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys again, not only for being D-backs fans, but for being with us this late. Shout out to our ASU Sun Devils crew, everybody except Totri. And we thank you guys for joining us on behalf of Jesse and myself. We always appreciate you, and we always appreciate the Diamondbacks winning on a walk-off. Remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when the Diamondbacks don't get swept by the fucking Dodgers.